Hi, my name is Tarek. Today we will discuss more about IP and port, and we will revisit some of the concepts that we have discussed in the last lecture. So we were discussing about IP. So an IP is a unique identifier for machines in the TCP/IP protocol. IP addresses are logical addresses. So it's very important to understand that these are the logical addresses. These are not the physical addresses. MAC address is a physical address, and IP addresses are logical addresses. So it's a 32-bit number. Every host machine on the internet must have a unique internet address, also called an IP address. Okay, these 32-bit addresses are normally written as four decimal numbers, one for each byte of the address. This is called dotted decimal notation. So if you see here, we have a hypothetical IP address, and the address is 140.252.13 and 33. So every segment of this IP address is of 1 byte. This segment is of 1 byte. This is 1 byte. This is 1 byte, and this is also 1 byte. So this makes this IP address of 4 byte. Okay. We will further discuss in the theoretical section that how this addresses are composed, how these are developed, and what are different classes of addresses. Now let's take an example here. I have a machine and I want to connect this machine with this internet. So this is an internet. This is a symbol of internet. It's a cloud and something downloading and uploading. So I want to connect this machine to this internet. Now, how can I connect this machine? So in the other words, I'm saying that I want to associate this machine, my machine, as a part of this huge network, right? I want to, you can say, I want to add this machine as a part of this internet. So how can we do that? So let's say this is the kind of a connection I want to establish. So for that, I need to have what? I need to have an IP address associated for my machine. I need to associate an IP address for this machine so that it could become a part of the internet. Now the question arises here is, who can associate an IP address? Who can give me this IP address so that I can use that IP address for my machine's identification, right? Now we will answer this question in the next slide. Since every interface on the internet must have a unique IP address, there must be one central authority for allocating these addresses for networks connected to the worldwide internet. So as you can see here, a word which is called central authority. It means there must be some authority who is authorized to associate or to allocate IP addresses to the machines who want to connect to the internet, right? The American Registry of Internet Numbers, ARIN, is an organization in the US that manages IP address numbers of US and associated territories. So this is an organization which is responsible for handling and for allocating IP addresses in US and associated territories. Resiux IP Europeans, RIPE for Europe. So this organization is responsible for allocating IP addresses for Europe region, and Asia Pacific Network Information Center, APNIC, is for Asia Pacific region. So what I'm saying is, if I have a machine, for example, this is my machine, and this is a big internet, okay, and I want to connect this, I want to connect to the internet. So this organization will allocate me an IP address, right? Will allocate me an IP address using which I can be identified. So APNIC will give me a number, a four segment number, okay, using which my machine can be identified over this huge network, which is internet, correct? So this is the procedure. Okay, although the network interfaces on a host and therefore the host itself are known by IP addresses, humans work best using the name of the host. So the numerical number, the four segment numerical number, isn't actually an IP address, but it's hard to understand for humans to remember those numbers. So for that purpose, what we have, we have host names. So the host names are actually English names which we can understand and we can remember. Let's say, for example, for MSN. So MSN is an English letter. So msn.com is a host name. There will be some IP address to map this MSN. Since internally it's all the numbers that travel on the network. So in the TCP/IP world, the domain name system is distributed database that provides the name mapping between IP addresses and host names. Okay, you must have seen something like this, right? In your internet setting, there is an option which is called obtain an IP address automatically, and we also have an obtain DNS automatically. Okay, we have obtain IP address automatically, and we have obtain DNS automatically. Now, what is this? So this is actually are setting, we are doing a setting in a machine that, and we are telling our machine that you must obtain the IP address automatically. Now, how it can do this? So our machines, I won't go into much details right now, but for the sake of understanding, you are instructing and you are giving an instruction to your machine that whenever I'm trying to connect with the internet, you should try yourself and get the IP address. So let me show you my machine. Here is my internet connection. Okay, so this is a Wi-Fi symbol here. Okay, and I'm not right now connected to the internet. Right now, if I run the command prompt, if I say cmd, right, and on Windows you have a command which is called ipconfig, right, ipconfig, and now if I press enter, as you can see here, you won't find any IP address associated either with IP version 4 or IP version 6, right? You won't find any IP number right now. Now let me connect this with the internet. Now as you can see here, it's now connected. Okay, it's now connected. Now let me run this command ipconfig, and now you see I have an IP4 address. Okay, I also have an IP version 6 address, right? And I have also subnet mask and a default gateway. So let's ignore these two things for now. What I wanted to show you is now, since this machine is now connected with the internet, and I have obtained the IP address from some central authority, right? From some central authority. Now this machine, my machine, can be identified with this address, right? My machine can be identified with this address. As you can see, I don't have anything like IP version 4 address, right? Then now we have, since I have connected my machine to the internet, now I have obtained this address using some central authority, which is this all is happening behind the scene. This was a practical thing I wanted to show you. So I can say that this Asia Pacific Network Information Center might be like, I can say that this organization has given me that IP address. Okay, now you know that we used to set these settings, and now you have an idea that why we choose this option. So DNS, we will discuss about the DNS in our theory part in the second phase of this course. Okay, so you must have seen this kind of phrase while connecting your cell phone with the Wi-Fi. So it's actually saying that it's obtaining the IP address is obtaining its identification from some central location. Now port. A port is a 16-bit number used to identify specific applications and services. Application that provide a service such as FTP or HTTP servers open a port on local computer and listen for connection requests. So a port is, it's actually the services that a machine provides. Last time we discussed about a tall building, about a huge building, and there were some restaurants, offices, table tennis courts. So if you want to get to an office, or you want to get to some specific restaurant, so you need to know the number of, or you can say the location of that restaurant. A client can request the service by pointing the request to the application's IP address and port. So you need to know both the things. You need to know IP address and the port to access any specific service. So IP address is actually an address, right? And port is this that specific location. So IP address is actually the address of the building, and the port is actually the office number where you want to go. A client can use any locally unused port numbers for communication. So there are some reserved port numbers which cannot use. And for example, I want to develop an application and I want to use publish that application on the internet. I want other people to use it. So I'll have to associate a port number with that. Port numbers are from 0 to 6553. First 1024 ports, 1024 ports are reserved for use by certain privileged services. Now let's look at the Java code. We will write some code and we will try to obtain the IP addresses. We will try to access, actually, we won't obtain. We will try to access some IP addresses of some of the known websites, let's say Yahoo, Google, MSN, right? So let's create an application here and then we will add more files to this application, and it's a Java application. Let's say network program Java. Okay. Now to access IP address, we have a class in Java which is called inet address, right? So an inet address is part of, we can say inet 4, inet 6. We have both of these classes. Let's use the simple one, the inet address. Inet address is a part of the java.net package, and I will say address equals to inet address dot get localhost. Okay. Now first what I want to do is I want to get the localhost. I want to get my name. Okay. Since this method is throwing an unknown host exception, I have two options. Either I can use throws here, or I'll have to write try catch for this code. I will write throws unknown host exception. Okay. And now let's just simply print this and localhost, and here write address. Okay. It's a very simple program. Let's run this program. Now, as you can see here, my localhost is the name of my machine is MSI, and this is the localhost address. So now, since I'm not connected with the internet, as you can see here, I'm not connected with any internet. It's not connected. So this is a default address which a machine gets. Okay, this is kind of a default address, 127.0.0.1. Had I been connected, this would have been the address of the IP address which I obtained from the central authority. Okay, so now let's see. Let's get the host name. We have get localhost and copy this and paste this. We have another method which is called host. Localhost at host name. So it's a string address. A string, and let's say name, and we will print the name here. Okay, so host name. Let's run this. So as you can see, MSI is the name of a machine, is the host name. Okay, let's try to access the IP addresses. Let's try to know the IP addresses of the websites. So I'll have to connect this first. Now I have connected with the internet, and now I must have obtained the IP address. So for that, I can say that inet address dot get by name. Okay, I'll say get by name. And here I will provide, for example, msn.com. Okay, so it will be inet address msn is equals to this, and so I would say msnip, right? msnip, and it will be msn. Okay, now let's run this. So as you can see here, we have an IP which is the msn.com, and its IP is 13.82.28.61, right? We have, now let's check another IP. Let's check for Yahoo. Yahoo, say Yahoo here, and in the same way, you can copy and paste this. And here I will say Yahoo, here I will say Yahoo IP. Okay, and let's run this. So the Yahoo IP is 98.137.4626246 and .7, right? As you can see, we can know the IP addresses of the websites. And there is one more variation. Now, if I know the IP address, let's say if I know the IP address of this website, can I get the name back? Now let's check this. Now, let's say you have the IP address, okay, and you want to know what's the host name of this IP address. What host name is associated with that IP address? So for that, we have inet address dot get by address. Okay. Now this needs a byte array. As you can see, this needs a byte array to be passed. Right. Now, how we can handle that? To pass the byte array, we need to have a byte array, right? And byt is equal to new byte array. And now you need to write the IP address of those four uh, of that host name. So what I will do is I'll copy. For example, I want to get the for Yahoo. For Yahoo, this is the Yahoo address, okay? And what I will say is comma, 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 and I'll have to convert. As you know, byte range is 127, right? So it cannot go beyond that. So I'll have to cast this manually. Byte. I have to cast every number into byte. Okay. Now, once I've casted this, I can use this byte here. Sorry. And let's try to print host name plus, and I can say inet address to host host. Okay, and let's comment these. Let's run this. Okay, I have to say dot get host name, right? Now let's run this. So as you can see, yahoo.com is here, right? As you can see here, we have got uh, the domain name, the host name, on providing the IP address. So this was the initial the very first code we wrote, and we know that inet address is a class using which we can get the IP addresses of the host name. Now in the next lecture we will explore sockets, and we will write some code to implement the socket. Thank you for watching.